Hi, thank you for listening to me today. My name is Joan Oldham, and I'm going to talk to you about how I believe that the overuse of technology is ruining human interaction. Technology has improved so much over the last 10 years, and it has brought a lot of positives to our life, but we are overusing it as a society. 91% of Americans have a cell phone. We are in constant contact. We can be online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that is taking away from the human contact that we have and the time we're spending with each other. I want to encourage you to look at how much time you're spending online and how much time your family is spending online. I also want to inform you about some of the positives and negatives of using technology and how we're abusing it in our society. By hiding behind a screen, we're losing our ability to interact with each other. It's causing in our society how we learn, how our children are learning to communicate. It desensitizes how we interact, where when we're behind our screen, we feel we can say anything that we wouldn't normally say if we were face to face and in front of someone. Children today are spending way too much time behind screens. According to the BBC in 2015, children are spending up to 6 hours a day on screen time. That is an epidemic proportion. It's borderline addiction. So some of the physical effects of addiction for cell phones is digital eye strain. Looking at a screen all day, your eyes get very tired. It causes you not to be able to focus. Neck strain. Typically you're looking at the top of somebody's head all the time, right? Instead of looking at their face because they're looking down. So that causes a lot of neck and shoulder strain. Increased illness due to the germs on a phone. We don't really think about it, but they're not something that we clean regularly. But we take them into the bathrooms. They're sitting on top of the toilet paper roll. They're sitting on the counter that 1,000 other people had their dirty hands on. We set them down on tables at restaurants. We set them down on the floor when we're somewhere because there's nowhere else to put it. And then we just pick it up and put it right back up to our face, right next to our mouths. So they are seeing a lot more illnesses from cell phone use. Psychological effects, a lot of anxiety and depression with social media. People look at these, what they feel are ideal lives, and why doesn't my family get along like that? Why is her partner so handsome? Why is their life so perfect? Why didn't somebody like my post? Why didn't somebody comment on how beautiful my daughter was in her prom dress? We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and that's causing a lot more anxiety and depression in society. Sleep disturbances. If you set your phone next to your bed and it notifies you, it buzzes or pings or whatever, subliminally you're gonna hear that, and your mind isn't really gonna rest, and it's gonna disturb your sleep. If every time something happens and the screen lights up, you might not realize it's happening, but it really is interrupting your sleep. We're using our phones for so much more than communication, right? We're banking. If I never have to go to the bank again, I would be so happy. Mobile deposits, just paying for everything, through Apple Pay. You don't ever have to go get cash. You don't ever have to go to a bank. Certainly internet use. Virtual offices. I've worked from home at a couple different jobs, and it's been great not having to, get in the car and drive to an office. So there are a lot of benefits. Social media apps, they give you an opportunity to connect with people, friends and family from around the world, around the country, that you wouldn't necessarily be having conversations with, and now you have that opportunity. So there's a lot of benefits. There's certainly a faster mode of communication. Directions. Wow, I wish I, knew how to make pea soup. Boom, you type it in and you've got 5 different recipes to choose from. Directions. I don't know where I'm going. You type it in and you just follow the directions. It tells you the best way to go and how quickly you can get there, and where to avoid accidents or police activity and different things like that. So, the problem with that, true story, I had a nephew who was following a GPS, and he just followed. He turned right when it said to turn right, and he ended up in a lake. So he was relying too much on that and not really paying attention to what was going on around him. All of your information is at one spot, right? I pick up my phone, I walk out the door, I have everything that I need. I don't need to bring a piece of paper, I don't need to bring an address book, I don't need to bring a GPS, I don't need to bring a camera. Everything is right there in my hand. So there's a lot of ease of use. But there's a lot of negatives to technology too. Social interaction is diminishing. We're hiding behind our screens. As I said, we don't need to, kind of pay attention to what we're saying to other people because we're not saying it to their face. We've gotten less patient. We have that instant gratification. We're expected to, we text somebody, we expect them to text us right back, or, we post something, we expect people to see it right away. There's a lot of misinformation on the web. You look something up and you think that it's true because, it's on the web, so it must be true. And we all know that that's not correct. The cost. These phones, every 2 years they're coming out with new phones, and they're encouraging you to buy the latest and the greatest. They stop supporting the older models, so it kind of forces you to do that. And with social media accounts, we have that false sense of friendship. I've seen that in my own life where, my husband will say, hey, did you talk to Sally yesterday? Did you talk to Sally lately? And I'm like, oh yeah, I just talked to her the other day. But when I really think about it, I didn't talk to her. She posted something online and I replied to it, and so we went back and forth a little bit on that. So that's not really talking to somebody. That's not really having a conversation. And that's what's so important, that face-to-face interaction. Listen, you're looking at me right now, so this is great. This is a great way to use technology. You can hear my voice. You can see my body language. You can hear the inflection when I'm speaking. When you're texting, emailing, sending, putting something out on Twitter or on Instagram, people can't see that unless they can hear you. And tone and inflection are so important. It changes the whole meaning of what you're saying, right? If I say, come over here, or if I say, come over here, those are two different messages. And you wouldn't get that if it was just typed into a text or typed onto a tweet. Body language, watching how people are reacting to what you're saying. So you could say, oh, wait, I think they took that the wrong way. So it's very important to have that human interaction and to not lose that. And you do lose that behind your screens. So how can you combat that? Set limits. Certainly set limits on your children for using screen time. But the best way to do that is to set that example yourself. Put your own devices away. You can't say to them, oh no, you can't be on your screens when they see that you're on them all the time. It just sends a mixed message. Certainly have device-free dinners. Nobody is that important that they can't put their devices down for 40 minutes to have dinner with their family. Put together outings, picnics, play outside, go for a bike ride, go for a walk. Just do something that you're not behind that screen. Technology can be a great tool in our life if we use it appropriately. It gives us the opportunity to get things done much quicker. Multiple things can get done at the same time. So I'm not saying technology is bad. I'm saying sometimes how we're using it is. Sometimes too much of a good thing is not really good for you. Thank you so much for listening.